The political theory of TV news. Cultural theorist Stuart in the 1970s wanted to explain why TV broadcasting was so unique in the way that it communicated information in comparison to other previous formats. Communication in general was seen as a loop, but a loop with specific connected but independent moments. And this loop provided a product which was effective communication, and like any physical product, it was made with tools and a series of social relations which would facilitate the effective production of communication. Effective communication being communication which ends up affecting audience actions or thoughts. And Hall was particularly interested with one moment in the communication loop, and this was the circulation moment. Particularly, he was interested with its encoding and decoding moments. And to contextualize this a little bit, we can think of a news broadcast which is trying to effectively communicate a certain event that's happened. To actually communicate that physical event, the event has to become a story using language, which can be circulated in discourse. That process requires the encoding of a story with meaning by the broadcaster and the decoding of meaning from the story by the audience for an effective loop of communication. And we know the communication has been effective if the code used aligns between both sides who end up with a similar meaning. But TV, like all formats, has certain limitations, structures, which create rules which TV broadcasters have to abide by to create the effective communication. And it is worth saying that this is a loop, so audience reaction and the kind of surrounding conditions around that broadcast will have feedback and will feed back into the loop of TV's communication. Here then, the TV producers are primarily concerned with the effectiveness of their broadcast communication, not necessarily with the actual accuracy of events being depicted, but of the effective encoding and dominant audience understandings. TV will most likely go to dominant understandings to create meaning with their stories, and the audience will kind of understand these pre-established codes of dominant meaning because they've experienced them time and time again. So with TV, not only are we dealing with the requirement to implant an ideology into your story, the audience are coaxed into an unconscious decoding of that ideology where they don't necessarily even think about how that meaning's been constructed without actively understanding that they're being given an ideology within the story. They think they're getting a neutral take.